Hello. I'm going to look at this 15 marker for education, and it has previously come up, and it is describe and explain the functions of the education system for society. So describe and explain the functions of the education system for society. So what are the functions that education performs for our society? Describe and explain the functions of the education system for society. Because it's got the word functions, that suggests to me that it needs to be functionalism. Describe and explain the functions of the education system, but what purpose or function does education perform? So I'm just trying to decode the question. Suggests functionalism to me, probably put that blue to keep it in line with my love for the colour coordination. So the functions of the education system, which suggests to me this is a whole blue discussion about the functions that education performs. Now, for a 15 marker for education, similarly actually to a 15 marker for core, you need to provide the examiner with 3 paragraphs, because that's what you get for top banding. Top banding is the top mark band, which is where all the lovely highest marks are, and that's obviously where we all want to be. And for that, I know that you should really have 3 paragraphs. Doesn't work in all cases because some of them are very narrow, but in this one, actually definitely, and we should always be aiming for those 3 paragraphs. Now, what I am going to do, so the 3 functions of the education system for society. So what does it do for society? Now, the skills that you're assessed on here is knowledge, AO1, knowledge, which is ideally what it's sociologists' names and terms they use, or what we call concepts. Do you use sociologists' names? Durkheim, Parsons, Davis and Moore, 3 functions of education. And do you also use their terms? Social solidarity, ideal citizens, meritocracy. Do you use those words? So you get marks for names and terms, and you also get AO2 marks. Now, you only are doing AO2, or what we call analysis, if you utter the words "this shows" or "this means." That's the best way I can prove it to you, or you prove it to an examiner. Have you used the words "this shows" or "this means" at the end of the paragraphs? If you haven't, you are not doing AO2, you are not doing analysis. When you say "this shows" or "this means," it's like a little marker to an examiner that you are doing some analysis, so that he or she should take note, or they should take note. Okay, now with the functions of the education system, I know that there are, as an agent of socialization, it provides skills and qualification, and it allocates roles due to ability. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to think, right, the 3 functions. So one key function is it's an agent of socialization. Education is an agent of socialization. It teaches everyone the same norms and values. Education is an agent of socialization, and it teaches everyone the same norms and values. This creates ideal citizens. And then I think to myself, well, hang on a minute, that's really similar to what Durkheim argues, that actually the purpose of education is to socialize us. So I'm going to do this paragraph, as actually one key function is socialization. That's going to be the theme of paragraph 1. First key theme or first key function is socialization. Education acts as is an agent of socialization, teaches everybody the same norms and values, and creates ideal citizens. For Durkheim, education is key. So for Durkheim, education creates social beings who can function correctly, because that's the question. I'm going to try and focus my attention on their language. Durkheim argues that education creates social beings who can function correctly. RS and history. His story. RS and history teaches social solidarity, and a sense of belonging. And it ensures ideal citizens are created. Durkheim argues education creates social beings who can function correctly. RS in history teaches social solidarity and a sense of belonging, and it ensures whether ideal citizens are created. The hidden curriculum teaches everyone the same norms and values. The hidden curriculum teaches everyone the same norms and values. Okay, that's the knowledge. As an examiner will, well, they won't highlight, but they will underline. When we underline as markers, we like what we see. Socialization. They like the word ideal citizens because it's a concept, it's a term. Durkheim's name. They like the term social beings because that's his words. They will like the terms RF and history. Underline that. They will like the words social solidarity. Oops. They will like the words ideal citizens again. And hidden curriculum. They will underline and circle things they like, or they're right next to it, AO1 or AO2. That's all knowledge. And the theme is socialization. You can start the paragraph with one function of the education system is socialization. That's how we can start that paragraph. Let me move it. Okay. Then at the end of that paragraph, I have to do some AO2, I have to do some analysis. So I have to say, this shows. And I have to directly reference the question. I have to directly use the language of the question. So this shows that a function of the education system, this shows that a function of the education system to society, this shows that a function of the education system for society is that it socializes individuals. So its purpose or its function is to socialize individuals and ensures that there is limited conflict in society as a result. The purpose or the function of the education system for society is to socialize you all. And it socializes you all to ensure that there's limited conflict in society as a result. And everyone is an ideal citizen. You're all ideal, there's limited conflict, so everyone is an ideal citizen, or everyone functions successfully. It ensures that there is limited conflict in society and that everyone functions successfully. That's its role, that's its job. So paragraph one key function is it's an socialization. Creates ideal citizens, creates social solidarity, and that ensures there's limited conflict and everyone functions successfully. So from the three functions, one of the next key functions is it allocates a role. So a second function of education is my paragraph 2. A second function of education is that it allocates roles. Second key function is it actually allocates roles. Due to ability. It allocates roles due to ability into a division of labour. It allocates roles due to ability into a division of labour. And I think to myself, that's really similar to Davis and Moore. So for Davis and Moore, education promotes meritocracy. Second key function is it allocates a role due to the ability of a person into a division of labour. For Davis and Moore, education promotes a meritocracy. Everyone is equal, and the system is fair. Education promotes meritocracy. Everyone is equal and the system is fair. Differences are due to ability. Differences are due to ability, and any inequality encourages you to work harder. Differences are due to ability, and any inequality encourage you to actually work harder. For Davis and Moore. So, paragraph 2, it allocates roles. That's the knowledge. Again, allocates roles is knowledge. It's going to get circled or highlighted by an examiner. Division of labour. Ability is also one as well. Terms generally terms only sociologists would normally use. Davis and Moore is knowledge through their names. Promotes a meritocracy. Meritocracy is knowledge. So you can see now why you do the mix and match of the terms as well. So you use those terms very freely because they get you more marks. Meritocracy, system is fair. Differences are due to ability. Ability is also knowledge. And any inequality encourages you to work harder. Okay, so the theme of that paragraph then, so that's knowledge, that's AO1. And then the examiner will expect to see me say, this shows, to suggest that I'm now going to do some analysis. So this shows, and again, you've got to directly reference the question. So every time you do a this shows in sociology, you must read the question every time you do it. So my A-levels are a little bit of a blur. And there's some key points that I can remember throughout those 2 years. And one of them is being in my crime and deviance A-level exam, and every single time I was doing analysis and using the words this shows, I read the question to make sure I haven't gone off. Students go off on tangents because they're not coming back to the question. So literally read it and use the exact phrasing. So this shows the functions, or this shows a function of, let's check, the education system. It shows the function of the education system for society is to allocate the most talented to the most demanding roles. That's the function. This shows that the function for the education system for society is to allocate the most talented to the most demanding roles. And this ensures society continues to function successfully. You'll see why this shows is actually quite large, but what it's doing is it's directly referencing the question. It shows the function for the education system for society is to allocate the most talented, the most demanding roles. That means society continues to function successfully. Now, a third key paragraph. So, third function of the education system is to provide skills and qualifications. Provide skills and qualifications needed for work. It's to provide skills and qualifications needed for work. Well, the last one left, Parsons. For Parsons, education acts as a bridge. Parsons, education acts as a bridge between home and work. Education acts as a bridge between home and work. At home, you have an ascribed status, or one you are born with, and are judged by particularistic characteristics. At home, you are judged by ascribed status or particularistic characteristics. However, at work, you are judged by universalistic, and a status must be achieved. Parsons, education acts as a bridge between home and work. At home, you are judged by an ascribed, you're given, at home, you have an ascribed status and are judged by particularistic characteristics. So they are unique. However, at work, you are judged by universalistic or values that apply to all, and a status must be achieved. So I was just reading that back and thought, hang on a minute, I don't think I've made it clear to the examiner that I actually know what those terms mean. At home, you would have an ascribed status, one you're born with, and are judged by particularistic characteristics, unique ones. However, at work, you are judged by universalistic values that apply to all, and a status must be achieved. That's my knowledge. Again, an examiner will go third. Okay, skills and qualifications, that's knowledge. They won't highlight it, they will underline. Parsons is a name, and it's correct that he talked about the bridge. Ascribed and achieved is knowledge. Particularistic and universalistic are also, that's all knowledge. as well. So it should be very dense in terms of knowledge. We shouldn't be waiting a long time to see names or terms. It shouldn't have, loads and loads and loads of detail that veers you off track. There isn't enough time, to be honest. So this shows my analysis. Can't get an A in sociology without a this shows at the end of every single paragraph you write. So this shows, again, read the question. This shows that a function of, just check, the education system, that a function of the education system for society, because what will often happen is students will read the function of the education system, but they won't read the for society. So again, it won't have the same focus. This shows that a function of the education system for society is to provide skills and teach us that we must work hard to achieve. Teachers that provide, so the function of the education system for society is to provide skills and teach us that we must work hard to achieve any high status within society. Okay. See, in the exam, you don't grid it like that. Literally write one agent or one function of the education system is socialization. That's my paragraph 1. My paragraph 2 is to allocate roles. Davis and Moore, this shows. My third is to provide skills and qualifications, my Parsons, and my this shows. But I always feel it's really, really important to make it very clear to you when we have done a topical knowledge, exactly how you have to apply it. So exactly how will an examiner examine you in that way, and how will you have to get those full marks? Obviously, I hope you enjoy the subject, but it is important that you know exactly how to apply this knowledge so it's clear. So not only if you love the subject and it's, opened your eyes and all those great things, but also that you're clear on how to get your A stars and A's. Okay. So if you can just ensure that you have written that model so that you've got some good structure and some good guidance of applying that knowledge. And also then you're starting to build up, a very clear picture of scaffolding of how you actually answer those 15s for education going forward. Okay, folks, take care, and I will see you soon.